Sup guys, are you ready to talk about some pickleball paddles? STS here, and today we're looking at the new bread and butter Fat Boy. Does it stack up against the other contenders for wide body paddles right now? I've spent some serious time testing it out. Let's get into what makes the Fat Boy special and if it's worth your time and money. So without further ado, let's dink straight into it. The bread and butter Fat Boy is priced at $190, but with code STS Pickleball you can get 10% off, bringing it down to $171. First off, let's talk about the design. The bread and butter Fat Boy has a sleek, robust look. It's got this clean, unique, very trendy design with the donut and the font style working super well together. It's big and bold with the pink and light blue color scheme, which I honestly love. Fairly flashy, but definitely stylish. The Fat Boy is utilizing a carbon fiber Kevlar blended surface material for the face. It doesn't have a ton of grit to the touch, which I was surprised by. I was expecting more grit or just more spin in general, but we'll get into the spin metrics very soon. The properties that I have noticed with mixing carbon fiber and Kevlar into the face of a paddle is generally just more pop. The structure together seems to be far more poppy than Kevlar or carbon fiber alone, generally speaking. This isn't the case for every single paddle out there because there is more that goes into the rigidity of the face than just the material used, but in general, and with this paddle, the blended surface material gives it a ton of pop. They chose blue Kevlar instead of red or another color which matches the aesthetic of the paddle, which I do like. As for the grip, bread and butter have really nailed it here. The grip is cushioned and tacky, which means you're getting an excellent hold without feeling like it's slipping, even during those intense matches. It's designed to reduce vibration, making it easier on your arm over long play sessions. Honestly, over my time playing pickleball, I've become more and more sensitive to the quality of the grip of my paddle and feel that a more premium grip gives me more confidence in play. If the grip isn't solid and has a nice organic feel in my hand, it just sort of throws everything off. Here's all the stats for the Fat Boy, with notable metrics being the swing weight of 109.01 and twist weight of 7.04, which are wonderful metrics if you're trying to optimize hand speed while maintaining solid stability. So twist weight essentially means how likely the paddle is to twist when hit off center. The general range for twist weight is around 4.5 to 7.5 for stock paddles, so 7.04 will yield a very stable paddle. The general range for swing weight is from around 95 to 130. Lower swing weight and the paddle will feel very quick in the hand but have less general power and plow through, and higher swing weight, the paddle will feel more powerful and will plow through the ball much easier. So these metrics are really wonderful stock and give you lots of room to customize with weighting given the lower stock swing weight here. Alright, everyone's favorite category, let's jump into the spin metrics, and I have to say, when doing my testing I was fairly surprised by the spin here, and not in the best way. The Fat Boy comes in at 2032 RPM, which for this particular shape of paddle and style of paddle these days is not the best. To compare that to the competition, we have the Volair Mach 2 Forza at 2314 RPM and the Spartus Apollo at 2318 RPM, and we have the Rhombus FXR2 at 2135 RPM. I always say anything over 2000 RPM is top tier, so props there. But here's the thing, when you can get a Volair Mach 2 Forza for about $10 cheaper, which has almost 300 more RPM than the Fat Boy, or grab a Spartus Apollo for $50 cheaper, which also has almost 300 more RPM than the Fat Boy, it makes it a hard sell. At a generalized rate of 100 RPM loss per month, you're looking at not only cheaper paddles when you buy the Mach 2 Forza and the Spartus Apollo, but since they have 2300 RPM of stock spin, you're getting 3 extra months of spin durability before it hits what the Fat Boy is stock. So that's just pure honesty, specifically in the spin category. The Fat Boy is a 16mm paddle that honestly plays a lot more like a 14mm paddle when it comes to the power category, coming in at an 8.3 for power, but a solid 9.2 out of 10 for pop. Comparing that to the competition, we have the Volair Mach 2 Forza at an 8.5 for power and a 9 for pop, the Spartus Apollo at 8.7 for power and 8.9 for pop, and lastly the Rhombus FXR2 at 8.7 for power and 9 for pop. We can see that the Fat Boy has the lowest power rating but the highest pop rating, which is very interesting for a 16mm paddle. Usually when comparing a 16mm to a 14mm paddle, the 16mm paddle will be slightly more head heavy, which slows down hand speed, which will lower the pop value. And also, given the 2mm of extra thickness a 16mm paddle has over a 14mm paddle, the 16mm will generally feel soft and plush, and in general will have quite a bit less pop than its 14mm counterpart. But in this case, the Fat Boy at 16mm is super plush on drives and serves and resets, but has a ton of pop for hand battles at the net. The sweet spot on the Fat Boy is just massive, easily one of the best sweet spots I have tested. This big plush poppy pillow is basically all sweet spot, which makes me feel very confident in play. The Fat Boy comes in at a solid 9.5, tying it with the rest of the competition in the sweet spot category. It felt very consistent across the board when analyzing between all 4 of these paddles in the sweet spot category. Enough said. Lastly, we have control. The Fat Boy, with its higher pop value and lower stock spin rate in comparison to the competition, does lose points in the control category. The Fat Boy comes in at a 9 for control. Let's compare that to the Volair Mach 2 Forza at 9.7, the Spartus Apollo at an 8.9, and the Rhombus FX-R2 at 9.5, and we can see that the poppy nature of this paddle does deduct from its controllability. It has much more relative control to the Spartus Apollo here than the Mach 2 Forza or the FX-R2. I feel like dinks with this paddle feel fine. Sometimes they do come off hotter than anticipated with that extra pop. Drops also sometimes feel plush and sometimes feel rather poppy off the face. And resets don't feel super linear like they do with the Mach 2 Forza or the Rhombus FX-R2. So I would say this paddle is a bit more intermediate as far as control goes. I think if you're the type of player who has plenty of power already and wants to tone down your power while maintaining high pop for hand battles at the kitchen line, this could be a great paddle for you. Maybe you tend to hit your drives out often but still need some competitive edge at the kitchen line. This paddle would be wonderful for that type of player. I love the aesthetics of this paddle, and honestly, I would buy one for that alone. If you want to check out the top 5 paddles of 2024, click here, subscribe for more videos just like this one. Have a freaking wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.